Previously on Hive, Nero swatted it away, but the smokescreen managed to make a disturbance within his path. It gave Takeo the opportunity to hit Nero with a right strike to his jaw, then a left. Chapter 11, The Island. Alex found himself back in the technology-fueled room next to Nero's deceased corpse, a presence that had not been mentioned. Taking over, impressive, the Hive said through a quartet of bodies as it pushed forth a cup of steaming water, a white pouch drifting within it. "What's in it?" Alex asked, tired of the games where every word from the Hive's mouth was nothing more than a covert attempt to scramble his mind. An old-world delicacy. "You're dying," Alex boldly accused. He sipped the liquid, indifferent to the chance that it might be poison. If the Hive wanted him dead, it would be carried out as a brutal, quick execution, not with the slow reach of toxins. "Happens to everyone," the Hive responded, and the truth will spread. "So few in your position, so few have seen a hub. I am a legend, a myth. The truth hides." "What do you want with me?" "I need leaders. You betrayed me. No need to hide. You showed initiative, exactly what I need." "I'm just a former commander in the collective, nothing special." "You managed my forces, a great feat, worthy of consideration. I'm already in your army. I'm loyal." "No, you will receive higher status. Before doing so, The door opened and a body bag was revealed, the person within it writhing around in a panic. "Have brought a test," the Hive continued from its new recruits. It withdrew a knife and passed it to Alex. "Kill him." "I don't know what he did." "Kill him." Alex did not need more information. He remained still, refusing his offer. "I won't hurt anybody unless I have a good reason to." "A lie. You have killed many undeserving. So have you." "I have. Do not hide it. You did not see the old world. A necessary action. Now we're beyond repair because you intervened with another species." "No, old world souls had fates worse than death. Now man lives with passion." Alex scoffed at the lie. He recognized the ploy to make itself seem layered. The same trick was used when Alex was offered false hospitality when he first became a loyalist. Clever phrasing used to cover sinister motivations. "You're a liar. You tricked us as to where your heart was." "The collective deceives. They claim to know my heart. So arrogant. Many couldn't see how close I existed. My eyes everywhere." Alex speculated that he was referring to one of his squad members, but he immediately pushed for rational thought. "You had spies in Zone 6. "Of course, more than spies." The possibility that the Hive had gained the ability to take aspects of the environment made him think. He thought of odd places and legends until he stopped speculating when he remembered the restricted area. Those who entered were subject to great sickness. "You had a hub in the restricted zone." "More, my true heart." When living in Zone 6, he had been so close to the possibility of defeating it, but he had allowed it to slip from his fingers. "Why admit it?" Alex asked, his voice shaking, unable to hide his anger. "I have protection, triple what you know. The knowledge is yours to command. Your next destination is clear. If I fall again..." "You want me to take these people there?" "Do not falsify loyalty. You would mean to challenge me." Eyes, ears everywhere. I see, hear everything. I welcome the challenge." "You want to die?" "No, but I am." The admission gave Alex the only spark of joy that he had felt the entire conversation. "My spirit will live. Maybe you, maybe another, but Hive will live." "How?" "My replacement remains undecided. Defeat me, it is you." "No," Alex roared, his veneer of loyalty slipping. "Anger and emotion you must control." The screen behind him flashed an image. Within the still picture was a woman of the old world wearing gray with black hair and blue eyes holding great beauty. Behind her was a trio of rockets intended for travel. The still photo propelled into motion. The woman spoke, her blank stare turning into a smile. "On launch day, the world could not be more excited." "Our past," the Hive informed. Between the rocket and the woman was a great crowd waving. They all wore gray, the height of the collective's power, a time when citizens were happy to be a part of it. "We have waited for years. Today we prevail. Today we will take what is ours." The image shifted to an overhead snapshot of the vehicle. Silver triangles acted as the rocket's tips. Surrounding the vehicles was a gathering of green trees. At the edges of the landscape was sand, where guards wearing the gray uniform of the collective watched the borders. Under collective leadership, we have achieved great advancement, the best for us all. Today is the first step in bringing our guidance to the vast universe. We voted, and now the species that grovel in misery take our help. What is this? Alex asked. A vote took place, man, choose genocide. Of us, that's your fault. Of them, the Hive stated, its hands pointing to the sky. The Web 200 is the same ship responsible for first landing on Planet 1, formerly known as Mars. You're from Planet 1, Alex realized. I know what you are. You were built by them. I'm sorry we attacked your creators. It was wrong, but the people now didn't make that choice. I don't know if you can think for yourself. Largely responsible is the great Conrad Westwick, our ambassador, one of our saviors, the woman on the screen babbled. Planet 1, no, I am of Earth origin, the Hive answered. Today we are given the gift of victory, the woman proclaimed. Planet 1, truly peaceful, unlike us. Planet 2, 3, 4, 5, all peaceful. You're not from Earth, Alex decided, and that's a lie. Conrad Westwick, owner and last son of the long-running Westwick Enterprises, has been awarded the Collective Peace Prize, the woman stated. An image flashed on the screen of an elderly man, handsome with tired green eyes, white hair, and determination etched into his face. Behind him was the symbol of a W, the same symbol that had claimed Alex's hand. The name was recognizable. The last time he had seen it was in the painting within Sheila's cabin. Conrad Westwick, you're dead. The Hive's heads turned towards the image on the screen. No, but dying. Alex did not hide his reaction. He took a step backward. His stomach twisted. The Hive was Conrad, a human who had betrayed its own people for nothing. Invasion. Man's true nature revealed our world needed crippling before destruction of others. If you were Conrad, then you were one of the most famous men in the world. You could have stopped it. You ruined us. No, another would continue the cause. We always need more, never satisfied. On the screen, the aircraft launched upward. Its fires beneath propelled it into space travel, an act that would not occur again. Its scream overtook the words of the woman while it jetted to its destination. Alex did not respond. His entire life within the collective, he had always gone along with their decisions since their movements were similar to the Hives, libertarians, technicians, and the Amish. A boom came from outside of the facility, creating an aura of mystery around the night. What was that? Alex asked. The Hive did not speak for many seconds. The faces of its bodies were in complete concentration, eyes wide. Gather, retreat, take your weapons, it yelled. What was that? Alex asked again. A challenger, Conrad answered. Fight, lead, the Hive commanded. The arm cannon of a singular body retracted to the size of a bracelet and was passed to Alex. Alex was bonded to the weapon the moment it contacted his skin, becoming aware of its capabilities while he willed it to its intended form. A shell of purple metal that captured his arm. I'm not fighting for you. For survival. Alex was given a second weapon, a PDB-8. It had the advantage of a pistol's compactness and a shotgun's wide spread. The silver revolver had one visible barrel, which held two available others. As Alex and the Hive's bodies departed, an overhead blast suddenly destroyed part of the roof, revealing the changed sky. The beauty of the twinkling stars was interrupted by a helicopter which dropped orange napalm that slowly devoured the roof. Shouts echoed in the distance, paired with trading bullet fire. The last door to the facility was forced open before Alex could reach it. 5 bodies stepped through. Takeo led Reese, David, Patton, and Gianna, ready to kill once it was seen that the Hive was present. Let him go, fast, Patton screamed as he raised an Uzi. The entire team had upgraded their weapons. Takeo had a thick longsword bordered with flashing green electricity, a metal sheath strapped to Takeo's back to hold the behemoth weapon. At his hilt was a BN-10, Nero's old weapon, a forced destruction. Reese was equipped with an SNH-21 sniper rifle, capable of detecting camouflage. David held an SKBL shotgun, a weapon that could bend and was able to see what was coming round a corner on the small screen on top of the weapon. Quick, explain, Conrad demanded through its concentrated faces. If we're going to survive, we'll need it, Alex said. His allies backed down. The group stepped outside and saw pockets of the island burning, courtesy of a gathering of aircraft above which distributed destruction below. Shots extended upwards to end the invasion. A red streak smashed into the helicopter's side door, which led the helicopter to spin downward and land in the water. The Hive rushed forward. Its flying mutated beasts of 2 different breeds emerged from behind the facility. black flies and black crows. The crows each had 4 wings that propelled them with speed unnatural to their kind. Their talons were ingrained with gleaming metal. The flies shared formation, circling each crow in a ring of protection. "Send your animals up to the helicopter," Alex commanded. The hive complied with his request. Its creatures headed directly for the flying machines, attempting to black vision with a black swarm. Shouting came from the forest. Aid would be needed. "I'm going for it," Reese said. "Conrad, look out." The animals parted from attacking the helicopter. The glass that protected the pilot had begun to crack, courtesy of the crow's steel claws. Reese shot 2 bullets. The glass shattered, but the masked pilot remained. From his BN-10, a blue plasma sphere soared through the sky and hit the pilot, and control over the vehicle was lost. It sent the aircraft into a free-fall spin into the forest, causing an uproar of additional fire and wails. From the forest, the Hive's children ran alongside their mothers. Alex had seen the same terror and pleas of mercy before, when he had been a part in causing it. "Gianna, Patton, take whoever you can find, bring them back to the facility. I'll draw the fight." Alex, Takeo, Reese, and David took the main road. They were flanked by Hive that ran at the same pace. Each passing group was urged to head towards the facility, where he could only hope that Patton and Gianna had found a way to funnel them towards safety. He pushed doubt from his thoughts, reminding himself that Gianna had toughened up, Patton was trained, and Conrad was lurking to help. The bombing of the island continued, but adding to the destruction was a wave of triangles that flew from the transports. After rushing through the trees, they lodged themselves into the dirt, causing an eruption of dust at the moment of impact. "Shit, pinpoint lasers, we need to take them out," David yelled. Takeo wrapped his arms around one of the silver triangles and heaved upwards. It did nothing. Claws extended themselves from the object's sides and attached to the ground, further cementing its position. "Keep going," Alex said. Takeo tried 2 more lifts before abandoning the idea and continuing forward. A sudden explosion lifted the group off the ground and threw them several feet apart from each other. Alex smashed against a tree, but landing on his cannon acted as a buffer for the pain. The straight edge of a pinpoint laser in front of him began to glow. "Find cover," David screamed. As Alex dashed behind the tree, red lasers beamed from the triangle's flat sides. The crimson beams threaded towards one another across the landscape, creating a deadly maze. As they crossed, some hit loyalists, ending lives with their power. One cut through Alex's cover, nearly hitting his head. "Destroy them," Alex commanded. "Destroy them." All Hive bodies present copied. As the lasers remained stagnant, the Allies used their weapons to cut the triangles apart, dissipating the beams in a pace slower than ideal. Their rate of movement was based on the need to either jump above or crawl below the deadly lines carefully in avoidance of getting cut. "We're going to be fine, right? This won't get worse," Reese guessed, his hands shaking. From his pocket, he withdrew a small flask and took a sip as David appeared from behind. Alex did not say anything. A small amount would help soothe his fears. "Let's keep going," Takeo suggested. The devastation coming from above had reduced, but so had the size of the Hive swarm and the attacks that came towards the sky. As they ran through the remaining field of red beams, the raging fire behind them pushed less emphasis on safety and more on speed. As they came close to reaching the center of the island, they came across Reyna, who had crumbled to her knees, her eyes shining and with tears. Her face was marked with black streaks. "You need to kill me," she choked. "What?" "No," Alex said, moving forward, not having time for a conversation. "Do it," she demanded. "This is what I lived for," she declared. Her desperate grip turned tight around Alex's wrist. "My children are gone. My husband is dead." Alex's arm cannon slowly burned, preparing for her request. "No," a Hive body yelled from behind. "You are chosen." Reyna looked to the Hive body with awe and stood with pride. She retreated back towards the forest, where others who were unwilling to fight fled. Confused, Alex surged forward. He had thought that he was chosen. If Reyna was too, then it meant others were in the running. The devastation of the island was almost complete, and if they did not find a way to escape, their lives would be lost to the flames. They maneuvered through whatever they could find based on wherever the growing flames did not burn. A physical toll struck. The rising heat killed the ability to breathe. Alex's visual field blurred. Reese's pants caught fire and he screamed. He frantically rolled in the dirt which killed the flames, but damage had been done. His skin was red raw. Takeo picked him up, slung him over his shoulder, and aided in helping him limp through the landscape. Should have drank more, Reese said. Alex did not smile nor scold. His energy was focused on escape as they reached the living space. The huts had been licked by flames. The structures began to crumble, becoming ghosts of their past selves. Bodies from his new allies and the mysterious enemy clashed against one another. It appeared to be equal footing. The Hive was no longer an all-powerful enemy. The real war had just begun. "Find cover," Alex commanded. The men left what little protection the trees provided and entered the Loyalist living space, an altered environment engulfed in fire. The far-end huts were torn to shreds courtesy of the destructive fires. The walls collapsed, taking whoever used it as cover along with the downfall of the structure. The enemy had submerged themselves to the island's midpoint. The Hive's forces were lighter in numbers, but stronger with the technology they presented. The opposition catered to old-world weapons containing little plasma within their ranks, but their numbers forced Loyalists back. Struggling Loyalists made up the bulk of the defensive forces. The Hive was present but did not speak. Talking took effort, energy that the Hive did not have within the midst of sickness. Its low numbers meant that they could evade attacks and unleash its own. "Hold the line, hide behind the huts, not in them," Alex demanded, fulfilling his purpose in battle. Conrad did not want him to be a soldier. He wanted him to be a leader. The Loyalists looked to Alex with confusion, before recognition of who he was took hold, and Conrad's bodies followed his commands. "Partner up. One of you acts as cover while the other reloads." Alex's words were repeated by David, Takeo, and Reese. Then the Hive. Alex followed his own advice. Alongside Takeo, he sat behind an intact hut. It was not on fire, but it was being drilled by bullets. Alex flayed a stream of purple plasma towards the antagonists, hitting a man's chest. Critical damage was not done, but his intent was fulfilled. The enemy sent the bulk of their soldiers within the middle, leaving weak flanks. Within the skies, 2 enemy helicopters were circling. One dropped napalm. The other was a funnel for machine gun fire. Both caused destruction. "Hit the center," Alex commanded. His words echoed through the allies, manifesting in action. The enemy forces who had made a presence within the center were caught off guard by the sudden pelting, causing them to stagger, momentarily pushing the battle to a stalemate. Both sides had fighters occasionally rise from cover and attempt to advance, hoping to win an edge. A change came when the aircraft dropping fire moved towards the living area. "Get your animals on it," Alex called to the Hive. The Hive fighting alongside him all shook their heads. "There's none left?" "Busy," Conrad replied. "Focus on the helicopter." Alex called to the wider population. The bulk of forces pounded bullets towards the flying machine. Shots of plasma blasted the machine and it crashed into the forest. An uproar came from its contact with the ground. Alex surveyed his own forces to reevaluate. They stood strong, but the further deterioration of their cover made it so that a quick alteration of their position was necessary. If they went straight, the group would be overtaken by the spreading fire, painting the dark skyline with gray smoke. Retreat was not an option, as it would lead the enemy towards those they were trying to protect. "Use everything that you have, kill them." A great push from the Allies created a cascade of distraction in the form of smoke, electricity, fire, ice, elements of earth which left an opening. "To the left," Alex called. They departed using the small gap of opportunity, managing to break into the forest without resistance. As the Allies' feet reached the heavy tangle of trees, the enemy attempted to climb through ice walls, billowing fires and heavy smoke, failing with death. "Keep pivoting," Alex turned and waved to Conrad. "Stay in the back." The Allies swiftly moved left and right, preventing the enemy from making a clear shot, who foolishly ran straight, untrained. "Don't kill them, Injure," Alex called. His forces shot at arms and legs, disabling the enemies, granting opportunity. "Take their bodies," Alex called with guilt. Conrad withdrew hidden vials from the pockets of his body's clothing, approaching the fallen bodies and plunging needles into precious skin. The enemies turned to allies as the formula took them. They slowly rose as Hive forces, Alex's forces. "Let's win this," Reese called with joy. "Not over, they have the seas." Leadership switched as everybody followed the Hive. The new Hive bodies lagged behind as their movements faltered. "Are the people safe?" Alex asked Conrad. "Mostly, the boy succeeds." The words gave Alex feelings of pride amongst chaos. The Hive suddenly stopped after placing its bodies in a line, then stomped at the same time. A great rumble broke from the shadows, paired with a trio of bright lights. black tiles slowly unveiled themselves, peeling away the mystery of what stood before them. 3 monstrous black forms with an unbroken line of wheels supporting the bottom. Their torsos held slim cabins with cylindrical guns. "Remain silent," the Hive prompted. The trio of vehicles disappeared. Alex walked with the others at the edge of the forest. The invisible tanks left tracks and had a threshold of sound so low that only standing right next to it would reveal its presence. "Hidden tanks. If I had this shit earlier, I wouldn't be stuck with you," Reese theorized. "Focus on the mission," Takeo stated. "For the record, I never missed you." "Are you on something?" "I wish." "This is why—" "Wait a second," Reese interrupted, stopping the group from reaching the top point of an elevated hill. "Go back." The cohort remained still until Alex ushered them to make a small retreat. Afterwards, he crouched and peeked to check the disturbance, discovering the origin of Reese's panic. Spread across the forest, the enemy had sent forth silent soldiers clad entirely in black. Their faces were covered by masks. A mini turret was strapped onto each of their bodies. They had chosen varied locations to implement them. A brown belt held them in place, wrapping around feet, arms, shoulders, and legs. The small barrels were constantly swaying in the search for an enemy. They all found one in the form of a scurrying rodent and pitched a red beam of plasma towards it. The mammal instantly exploded, showing the danger that those approaching possessed. After the attack, an oddity occurred within their bodies. They shifted away from clear visibility and slowly merged into the forest, camouflaging within the environment. The only marks that indicated their location were the footprints that embedded markings into the ground below. "Let's kill him," Takeo said. Reese shushed him again and lowered his body. He lifted his SNH-21 to his eye and twisted its vision both left and right. "I've seen this shit before. It's old technician technology." Alex looked again and saw that the outlines of their bodies were gone. They had turned completely invisible. "I'll take them out," Alex decided. "I didn't know you could see things that were invisible," Reese mocked, shaking his rifle as a reminder that his was one of the few weapons that could detect camouflage. In the moment, Alex felt useless. He did not want to do nothing and wait for another to take glory for themselves, so he opted to use destructive power instead of simply waiting for them to approach. But then he realized that if they did attack, the origin of whoever led the assault would be tracked. "Turret," Alex decided. "We're prepared," David said as he approached with a rock in hand. A few others had followed his lead. With his hand, Alex indicated for the group to circle the invisible enemy. They began to edge away from one another, but Alex's original plan to circle the enemy ended when a twig snapped nearby. "Now!" Alex was the first to toss a rock in the air, but the plasma lasers within the group penetrated the material, disintegrating the rock to dust. Loyalists threw their material into the air, and with it came a shattering of rocks into it. Reese clambered up the hill and began to release bullets from his sniper rifle. Unable to see the layout of the battlefield without risking his life, Alex kept on throwing whatever debris he could find around him. He crawled on his knees, desperately scouring the ground, tossing up rocks, sticks, leaves, and dirt, all in an attempt to draw the lasers away from Reese and towards the distraction. Those around him did the same. As the lasers got closer, Reese continued his tirade until the shadowed enemy reached the edge, and the Loyalists discovered themselves dying based on red lasers that came only a mere few feet away from their starting points. Reese stood and backed away. The Loyalists became chaotic while trying to defend themselves. "Don't use your guns," Alex warned. But the Loyalists had already foolishly fired at the invisible enemy and ended up hitting their own. Reese continued to take shots. Each time one was hit, their body was revealed as the technology that allowed them to disappear was cut off. Alex looked to the ground, and in the panic spotted that the footprints revealed the enemy's location. Alex avoided a blast of plasma hitting his chest by lifting his cannon upright, and retaliated by shooting at the antagonist with his revolver. Despite the Loyalist misgivings, their high numbers made it so those running decided to retreat. It ended in a failed attempt, as Reese managed to gun them down through the use of his sniper rifle, till the forest turned quiet again with the exception of the sounds of burning flames and desperate shouts at different distant points. "Let's keep going," Alex said. He was surprised by the lack of help that the Hive had given them within the fight, but saw the reason for it. The Hive wanted to see his prowess in battle, and regarding what had just happened, Alex theorized that it was Reese who deserved the most credit. "Wait a second," Reese said. He bent down to investigate a fallen enemy whose black mask was in the midst of slipping off as a result from the battle. Reese peeled it off and his eyes widened in surprise. Holy shit. What? Takeo asked. This is Tian. Alex recognized the face upon closer investigation. It was one of the guards who had stopped them from entering Riverside without permission from Lonnie. Looks like I'm not the only one who left, he speculated. We don't have time to mull over the past, David stated. We must go onward. The Hive has, and for the first time I believe it would be appropriate to match its movements. Alex looked out to the sand on the border and saw that the Hive's tracks continued far ahead, forcing the group to move past where they stood and to continue their desperate journey. The group eventually made it towards the edge of the island and discovered that the enemy had arrived by boats. The ground forces were in a state of celebration, confident that they had accomplished the Hive's defeat. Some had returned from the blazing forest injured with burns, which they relieved with cool water, healing creams, and substances to ease pain. Conrad released 3 non-stop plasma beams onto the lounging enemy. Many were vaporized from the impact. The lucky ones lived, but with separated limbs. Snipers forward, Alex instructed. Those of Alex's forces with sniper rifles unleashed a hidden wave of bullet fire onto the chaotic beach. The tank's beams swept left to right, kicking up a yellow storm of sand. "Co-Hive, stop," Alex called. The beams faltered. The snipers ended the lives of those who still remained. "Keep going," Alex demanded. Nothing happened. The enemy charged towards the tanks. Hive bodies lacked movement. They stood still, a malfunction. Conrad had failed him. "Somebody go in the tank," David called. They looked to David, confused. "It appears that'll be me," David decided. He grimaced, moved from cover, and placed his hand on the back tank's passenger door, revealing the tank's interior. The inside had a single chair occupied by a passed-out Hive body, a cascade of joysticks, and small screens showing all angles. Once inside, the tank slowly disappeared, blending into the environment. The plasma cannon activated, destroying those close to the vehicle. The warboats took part in the battle. They shot at the deep forest while the Hive with him vomited green liquid. It turned to hardened gray quickly. The bullets being fired towards David scratched the surface of the tank. Dents revealed the black markings of the vehicle, revealing its exact location. Emerging from the forest came the few left in Patton and Gianna's group, barely making it out of the situation alive. Alex spotted familiar faces. He recognized the boats which belonged to the Libertarians. "Stop, we surrender," Alex yelled. The group followed his instructions. "Spare them," a voice through a speaker said. A woman's voice. From a docked boat, the outline of a slim woman appeared. Sheila,